before you speed up, you first have to slow down. Before you take a turn in your life for the positive, you first have to slow down. If you notice, the most influential people in life, before they started anything that was worthwhile, they slowed down. Jesus Christ took a 40-day and 40-night water and food fast. Michelangelo took 7 months of planning before he even painted the Sistine Chapel. He needed to make sure that all the logistics were correct. Me, before I started my YouTube channel, I got fired from my job and had to go back home and live there for 2 years and plan my escape. It literally took me to slow down in order for me to come up with the ideas so that I could live a normal life, right? Even in life, you'll notice that the smartest animals usually have the slowest gestation period, meaning that the smartest animals usually are babies for the longest period of time. And the dumbest animals come out from the womb striking, killing, and all that kind of stuff, right? So we as humans are so smart because we had a slow gestation period. Another example is boxing, right? Before you get in a boxing match, the boxer first studies his opponent, right? The boxer first slows down, looks at his habits, looks at his quirks, goes in such a slow speed that a boxer who wants to just fight instantly will not be able to tolerate. By the way, check out my new channel, Professor Alex. It's a channel that I created where I talk about spirituality, self-help, and topics like the ones you see here. It's completely different from the men's channel. So click on that right now, and there you'll be able to get 3 or 4 videos per week that you will never find on this channel. Okay, subscribe right now or else I'm closing it. Napoleon is another example. The reason why Napoleon was one of the smartest or the best military general is because he studied the most before he went into a fight. Like, he literally studied the map more than any general. He literally would go and take danger and walk around the field that we're gonna fight and put himself at risk, all because he needed to understand the whole picture. This process of slowing down are used by the best lawyers. A lawyer who doesn't know how to slow down, which means not arguing and just doing the boring stuff, is a lawyer that actually has more power in life. And to me, the example of this, the exemplary example, is Sir Isaac Newton. Why Sir Isaac Newton? Well, Sir Isaac Newton discovered all of his mathematical theories on laws and physics during the quarantine. Remember, there was a Black Death at one point, right, that killed millions of people. And because of that, Sir Isaac was actually going to school in England. And he was one of the smartest students there, but he wasn't like a standout. And so COVID happened, their version of COVID, and they had to go back to the fields. They had to go back to their homes. And in that isolation, Sir Isaac Newton discovered or came up with calculus. He realized the chromatic composition of colors, and above all, his gravitational theory. All things that was groundbreaking to science at that point. And he did that how? He did that in a span of 21 months, one of the most creative periods of any scientist. The dude was in the zone. This nigga was in the zone. And the way that he did that was through isolation. But it wasn't just isolation. Remember, before he was isolated, he was in school. So the key to slowing down is not to go at a slow pace the whole time. It's to undulate between speed and slowness, between being social and between being isolated, between working with other people and working by yourself. And then choosing moments of isolation that is uncomfortable. You'll notice that Steve Jobs used to lock himself in a room for a whole day in order to come up with creativity. Me, every 1 hour, every morning, for 1 hour in the morning, I'm meditating. I slow down. And throughout the day, I have moments when I slow down. For example, I'll slow down in the morning, I slow down in the afternoon, and at night, I'll slow down through meditation. But a person who can't slow down, unfortunately, will develop a lot of mental illnesses. That person will also disassociate from their bodies, right? It's important to know how to slow down. Your untapped potential isn't in speed, but slowing down. For example, look at basketball, right? My favorite basketball player is Larry Bird. And Larry Bird is an example of slowing down. Larry Bird was a player that had his own quirks, but one of the things about him is that he never went full speed. As opposed to my least favorite player of all time, which is Russell Westbrook. I think he's a selfish motherfucker. Russell Westbrook plays only in one speed, and people love him for it. But what is the common thing amongst Russell Westbrook? He has low IQ. Now, what's one of the reasons for his low IQ is the fact that he doesn't know how to slow the fuck down. He is way too impatient and is always looking for the big splash. And this actually puts his team in bad situations, right? So let's talk about why slowing down is so powerful and how you guys can use it, right? So remember, people who don't slow down like Russell Westbrook, in my opinion, right? They reveal lack of wisdom. They show haughtiness and lack of planning. These types of people are very easy to manipulate. This is the example of a man who has a high testosterone and wants to bang every girl that says hi to him. That guy, because he's always on high alert, on 100%, will eventually get manipulated by someone, right? It's being able to. It's like, for example, have you guys seen the show The Wire? Stan, the killer, like the guy who kills a lot of people towards the end. There was this girl trying to seduce him, right? And any guy would have seen a girl trying to hit him up and get some easy poom poom, they would have taken it. But he was different. Marlo was like, he slowed down. He was like, yeah. Then he was like, wait a minute, slow down. He was like, something's off about this girl. She's asking me to meet her by herself. This is too easy. And so he slowed down even further. Before he met up with her, he had his two hitmen like scan the place like a few hours before. So they were there before she was trying to trap him, and they killed him. Another example is the guy from The Wire. Marlo's here. Omar's here, right? Omar. He's a perfect example of being able to slow down. Why? Because when he needed to kill someone, nobody was able to go at a slower pace than him. He would literally stalk his prey for hours and days on end. He wouldn't do nothing. Another example is the guy from Salamanca, the really smart guy. Let me draw him. This guy is another example of being really, really smart because you're able to slow down, right? Everyone knows who he is, right? Yeah, right? That's it, right? And what he does a lot is that he stalks, but above all, he knows how to slow down. And why is he so good? Because he's able to go at a slower pace than everyone else. But then, equally, he's able to reverse that gear, right? Let's draw some gears, people, right? He's able to reverse that gear and go into hyper mode. And the reason why that's important to be able to have those types of gears is because your opponent hopes that you are impatient, right? But when you have multiple gears in your arsenal, you cannot be predicted, right? You just cannot be predicted. And this is what most people fear when fighting people. People who have this ability to turn it on and turn it off, right? For example, Michael Jordan had this habit where he was known as a scorer, right? Michael Jordan averaged 30 points per game, 30.1 points per game. And one of the things that Jordan did a lot is that when he first played you, in the beginning, he would let his teammates shoot a lot, right? Especially to the big man, Bill Cartwright, Bill Laimbeer, Horace Grant. But then towards the fourth quarter, Michael Jordan will gear up, right? And all of a sudden, he starts shooting more. He will slow you down. He will hypnotize you with slowness and then punch you and knock you the fuck out with suddenness and boldness. And so this gear amplifies whatever power you have. You could be You could have skills at a 70, for example, but if you're able to slow down and speed up, slow down and speed up, speed, fast, slow, that will give you, that same 70 will go to an 80 to a 90. It literally is like Kaioken times 10 for life, right? So how do you do that? Well, first of all, let's get a little lower here, right? Can you see me? All right. There you go. There you go. Okay. So in order to slow down, you have to embrace the slow parts of work, right? So that means sometimes doing research. For example, me, I want to make videos, and sometimes I would have to just do research. And you would say, man, I want to make videos. But some slowing down will allow you to get a better idea. So then when it's time to make a video, the video has more power. The video is more grounded in reality because you planned it more. Remember, the more you plan things out, the better the results are, right? And so an example of that is Renzo from the jiu-jitsu family, the you know, I forgot what's it called. Yeah, the jiu-jitsu family. Anyways, he was known as somebody who actually did yoga, right? He would do yoga. And that was actually one of the most, a lot of people ask themselves, why would he do that? But because slowing down, clearing up your mind, being able to just literally slow down your movement will speed up your ability to react in the moment. It'll give you more clear thinking. You will stop acting out of impatience, out of fear, out of anxiety, right? And so the slowing down process cleared his mind to be able to outsmart his opponents, right? You see that a lot. Another example, you notice people who are addicted, right? People who are, like, look, this is the Salamanca, but now we're going to give him crack, right? Now he's a crackhead, all right? People who have addictions, a lot of the times what gets them to stop doing their addiction, this looks like Hitler now, is really slowing down. What does that mean in this case? Going to AA, slowing down for a few months, slowing down for a few weeks, doing nothing, right? I go to Vipassana meditation retreats, and one of the things that we do is that we actually do silent retreats where we slow down, literally, where you don't do nothing. You don't drink coffee, you don't drink soda, you just eat vegetarian, drink water, you meditate 10 hours a day. And what that does is that when you go back to your normal life, I swear to God, when I would do those retreats, by doing nothing in those 10 days, I do 10 times the work in the next year. Watch my video output. I started doing the 10-day ones last year. I actually do different types, but I started doing those 10-day ones specifically. And you'll notice that my video output quadrupled, like since last year, literally quadrupled. And that's because when you don't do nothing intentionally doing nothing gets you to do more. So literally doing nothing intentionally, not procrastinating, not doing nothing because you want to do something. Now, doing nothing literally will get you to do more. Now, other things about slowing down. Let's erase this. Let's talk about other things about slowing down that's actually really interesting. Is that if you want to understand yourself, slowing down is the way to go. Why? Because it gives you access to your unconscious. Now, what does that mean? Well, because when you slow down, your mind gets anxious. Your mind wants entertainment. And when you're not giving it any outside stimulus, it'll dig deep into your unconscious and bring out unconscious thoughts and emotions. One of the things when you do meditation retreats is that your dreams become vivid. Your thoughts become intense. Literally intense thoughts. Your emotions become heavy. A lot of people ask themselves, what does it feel like to be in a meditative state? To be in a meditative state is that everything becomes amplified. The boredom you fear and you feel during the day becomes more boring. The negative thoughts become more intensified. Your paranoias become more intensified. Your dreams become more intensified. And if you learn to relax with a clear and peaceful mind, observe those anxieties, relax your mind, you'll notice that you actually start to overcome them. But in order to get to that point, you got to be able to feel this and not react to it. Well, that's what slowing down does. So then when you finally speed up, you're able to handle these thoughts better because you handle them in a slow way. Think about it. When you lift weights, you never lift weights fast. In order to truly lift weights and gain results, you got to go slower. In order to truly feel your emotions and overcome them, you have to feel them slower and allow yourself to be with them slowly, but above all, with a calm and peaceful mind. Right? Patience and love of process. And then above all, you're not inspired by money, praise, or competition. Any of these things will cause you to speed up. Remember, Leonardo da Vinci was able to go slow because he was in it to learn. He was able to paint slow paintings because his paintings were not meant for money. His paintings was because he wanted to understand nature itself. Like he was doing it as an experiment. For example, if he wanted to understand a certain aspect of light, he'll paint a painting so that he could study that light through that painting, right? So if you're doing it for money, you're always going to take the money route. If you're doing it for praise, you're never going to be patient enough to slow down because you'll be in such a need for validation that 1 second of no validation is painful. You'll never love the process because you realize that the process is long and arduous and requires a lot of thinking and forethought. As you can see, we even see this in nature itself, right? The slowing down process happens everywhere. In religions, Jesus. In nature, you sleep. In nature, there's nighttime. In nature, there's hibernation. In smart animals, there is slow gestation period. You see that everywhere. And if you're not learning from nature, if you're not reflecting nature in your behavior, you're pretty much doomed for failure, right? You got to reflect nature. You got to have moments of light and moments of darkness. You got to be able to go slow, but go fast as well. In fact, in Chinese strategy, Sun Tzu, there's a strategy called slow, slow, quick, quick, where you lure them into sleep through being slow, through being arduous. You lure them into impatience through your slowness, like a woman seducing a guy. You go slow. And then once their guard goes down, once they don't think you're gonna take action, you act with speed and suddenness and boldness. And that speed and suddenness and boldness and quick shift in speed catches people by surprise. And sometimes doing less intentionally will cause you to do more, right? Presence, absence, slow, fast. Or even if you're an athlete, doing other sports prevents injuries. Literally, doing other sports not only prevents injuries, but also improves your other sport. But doing the other sport might seem like you're slowing down. In fact, kids who do more sports as children, who diversify their experiences in sports, end up being better athletes when they're young, as opposed to the logical thing, which means let them do one sport their whole lives and they'll be better. Actually, studies show that they actually perform less over their lifetime. Going slow at first and allowing things to speed up and gain unstoppable momentum